Hey there, gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. This is Steve Horseman with Good Guys to Great Men. What we're here to do today is talk to you about another topic that us five coaches love to talk about. Now, we have Coach Jeff Allen, Coach Mark Dresga, Coach Garrett Prettyman, and Dan Dorr here with me today. We're going to dive into this title, How to Get the Pants Off Your Wife. Now, we know that it has a double entendre meaning to it. What this really means is not how to get her pants off and have sex with her, but how to get her to stop wearing the pants in the house all the time. One of the biggest complaints we get from guys is that she's always in her man mode. She's always taking charge. She's always bossing us around. She makes all the plans. She doesn't let anybody help her. She doesn't take compliments. She's like more of a dude than I am sometimes, and I don't know how to deal with that. And so, to kick this off, I want to talk about something that isn't really a problem. Having a strong, confident, independent, capable wife who challenges stuff every now and then is not a problem, especially in a long term relationship called marriage, where there's kids and there's family and there's in laws and vacations and money and dogs and a lot of crap going on. A lot of women find themselves saying, I do the bulk of the work in this relationship. I do the physical heavy lifting and I also have to do the emotional heavy lifting. Sometimes they're not wrong. Sometimes they're taking up more slack than they really need to, because sometimes we go into work mode, but we don't see all the other stuff. The thing I want to talk about is this balance between a strong, capable, independent woman and one who's soft and cooperative and agreeable and affectionate. There's no right or wrong way to be a woman. There's no right or wrong way to be a man. The one thing that I can tell you will soften a woman quicker than anything and get her to take her pants off and put her skirt on is to feel like she has a man at her side who loves her, adores her, appreciates her, sees her, understands her, values her, and isn't afraid of her. We can't tell you how many people come into our community and the first thing they say is, to be honest, I'm a little bit afraid of my wife. One reason a woman will wear pants more often than not is because she feels like she's emotionally stronger, that she has the ability to intimidate you, to threaten you, to scare you. And so, one thing we do in coaching men is help you learn how to get your mojo back. This is not an alpha swagger where you have to dominate her and boss her around, but it's a comfortable confidence in yourself where the masculine energy is more leading, it's more planning, it looks further ahead, it's more predictable, more grounded. And when a man shows up that way more consistently, even in a long term relationship, she'll want to take the pants off and follow your lead. Problem is, if you have a number of years where you've demonstrated that she's better off when she leads than when she doesn't, she won't want to take her own pants off. So, this video is about helping you move into a more masculine, a more grounded, more playful side of your masculinity that lets her know how to soften and why it's going to be more fun for her. I know a lot of our coaches are going to talk about what women really want and where they would rather be, as opposed to having pants on or not. Um, so I want to move on to Coach Mark here down in Melbourne, Australia. I want to get your perspective on the clients you've been working with recently who have these type of wives who are always in charge. And then we're going to go to Garrett and then Jeff and then Dan. What do you think, Mark?
Thanks, Steve. Um, I think the key thing to recognize is that the majority of women, well, I shouldn't say the majority, but the bulk of women don't actually want to wear the pants. And when we recognize that and accept that, we don't need to take it personally, right? Someone has to wear the pants in the relationship. Someone has to take the lead. Someone has to make decisions, whether it's regarding the family, whether it's regarding individual things that are happening. Someone has to be willing to make a choice and follow through with it. If you're not doing that, then the natural thing that's going to happen is that she will pick up the slack. Most women don't want to do that. Most women want to be able to trust that someone else will do these things for them. Most women want to follow a leader. But in order to do that, they have to be able to trust that you're going to lead them to where they want to go as well. If you don't have somewhere that you're leading to, she's going to lean towards taking charge, and she's going to become more bitchy and more aggressive in how she handles herself. And she's going to cut off those nice, sensitive parts, which is the affectionate, playful, loving, free-flowing woman that you initially were attracted to. So the first step is recognizing that she's not just doing it to be a bitch. She's not a nasty person, all right? She's doing it as a matter of survival. She needs to do it because someone has to take the lead. All right. So that means you don't have to take it personally. Whatever's happening isn't a personal attack. It's just a byproduct of the situation that you're both in. The next part of it is that you have to recognize that you have to begin by wearing your own pants. All right. Just because she's got hers on doesn't mean that you can't wear your own. What does that mean? It means you need to make decisions for yourself. It means you need to start living your life the way you want to, regardless of what she's doing, regardless of what she's saying, right? You have to start forging ahead and making choices. They don't have to be choices that affect her, but it can be a choice about what you eat, how much you exercise, things like that, things that are 100% within your control. The more you wear your own pants, the more intrigued she will become, and the more likely she is to slowly start trusting that you have a direction that you're headed in, that you have the capacity to lead, that you have a vision of where you want your relationship and your marriage to go. Then she can make the choice to follow you or not. But you have to be able to move forward knowing where you want to go, right? If you don't have a vision of the kind of relationship you want, that you want it to be affectionate, more playful, more adventurous, she's not going to follow you, right? Which means she's going to start doing things for herself. And a woman that does everything for herself generally is not a playful woman. So take the lead within yourself and start making your own choices. That's going to be the first step in taking your wife's pants off.
I love it, Mark. You reminded me before we go to Garrett. One thing I asked a guy to do is tell me what was on his to-do list. He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, do you have a to-do list, right?" He goes, "Well, no, I just look at hers. She's the one who does the to-do list." I
Yeah.
said, "What if you were to actually make a to-do list that had to do with the kids, meals, shopping, vacations, house maintenance? What if you had a to-do list and you left it on the counter?" He said, "Oh, wow, that would blow her freaking mind if I did that." That's what Mark means by put your own pants on, have your own to-do list, make a plan, get involved.
Yeah.
I love that, Mark. Yeah. Garrett.
Yeah, Steve, when you first said how to get the pants off your wife, my brain was bedroom, bed, pulling pants off. And then we
Me too.
clarified that that could be a stage later, but we're talking about that lady that seems to be calling all the shots.
Mm,
And my mind goes to the picture of you're driving a car and your hands are on the wheel, and maybe she's in the passenger seat, and you're on a long trip, and she's sleeping, and she wakes up, she sees you driving, and she gets a drink of water, goes back to sleep. That's what it looks like in a relationship when you're wearing the pants. Your hands are on the wheel. What is the wheel? You're making choices. You've made decisions. You have a plan. A lot of us guys gravitate towards, I just want Saturday to have nothing on the calendar. I want to come home and there's just zero. I want to just sit on the couch and zone out. We want to just have peace from everything, which is actually a lot of uncertainty for feminine. She wants to know, where is this going? So guess what? You can't take her pants off. But some ladies take their pants off around certain guys. But your job isn't to become this certain kind of guy they take pants off of. What we're talking about is, who are you? Because if she can't trust who you are, if who you are changes, then she's that passenger that when she wakes up from her nap and sees you driving, we're hitting tumbleweeds, we've missed our exit, we're 200 miles past the gas station, and she wants to grab the wheel and go, no, 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 don't go there. But that's what happens when we zone out as a guy. And being more masculine doesn't necessarily mean you got to take over balancing the checkbook or whatever you think of as leadership. It's more about having some lines in the sand for yourself that you don't cross. A simple definition of masculinity even is don't agree to what you don't agree to. You're violating your own integrity. And this is a real example that I've experienced with being in long-term relationship with a strong alpha, wear the pants type of lady is in Garrett's world, it's like a shield that I've built. And behind the shield, which is my home life, my financial life, my relationships, they're drama free, they're safe, there's no BS. And if you stay within the structure I've created, you get to experience this bliss with me. But if the lady decides to step in front of the sword, in front of my shield, and go out there into the battlefield and mouth off at the neighbor, get in a big fight with her boss, call her mom, get mad, and then hang up. Now all this drama is happening that never would have happened if you stayed in Garrett's place. And she might come back behind your shield and saying, "Where's my man? Who's got my back? You call my mom and tell her she's a bitch." in those moments, I found myself very conflicted because I was like, well, I am the man. I do have your back, but I feel like I'd be violating my code of conduct by reacting like that. And here she's telling me this is what you need to do to be the man. And I'm thinking internally, I feel like that's a violation. But many times I would let her reaction, her level of reaction, determine my choice. So when I say don't agree to what you don't agree to, I'm not saying be a contrarian or always be stubborn. But we do want to be men that operate on our time, on our schedule, on our frame. We don't sweep it under the rug. There is a plan. Even if the plan is, I know that you're really upset because your mom made you mad today. We'll talk more about it tomorrow when we're both a little calmer. Like that in itself is a plan. So who are you? She's looking for you to show up as that. Whether or not it actually works to keep the relationship going when she discovers who you really are isn't of concern. Because a fake version of yourself that's trying to appease things and keep the peace is you again not having the steering wheel in your hands. A helpful tool that you could start with right away is notice anytime you're telling your strong woman what you can't do and start switching it to telling her what you can do. That puts you back in creator mode, that puts you back in leadership, and it helps her know where this is going. And we overthink it. Us guys, again, we go to like, oh, I'm planning the summer vacation. No. When you leave the room, do you inform what's happening? I'm going out in the garage to get a soda, baby. I'll be back in a second. Or are you that guy that slinks off in the shadows? She never knows where you are, where you're going, what's next. Simply saying what's happening provides structure, provides masculine energy. I'm going in the kitchen right now. I'm going to load that dishwasher. Like, let her know what you're up to and find that now she can adjust to the leadership. She can know what's next and decide what she thinks about it instead of going out around your sword and sphere and getting hit with bullets and coming back for damage control. I find it's very powerful and it's much more clear to show up to chaos like this when you know more clearly who you are. That's what we're about here, helping you understand your frame, your values, your lines in the sand.
I love it. Know who you are. Perfect. Hmm. Coach Jeff.
Yeah, when your wife thought about what her life was going to be like, whether she was a little girl and thought she was going to be saved by Prince Charming or whatever the story was, or when she got married, she didn't know that life was going to shove her in a certain pair of pants, a certain responsibility, whether it's way more hours being a mom and the challenges of being mom than she thought, the generalized anxiety that maybe she has because of life or how her childhood went, or other challenges, emotional challenges that she had. Her identity sometimes is overwhelmed by responsibility. And like was said earlier, and like we all talk about, she doesn't want to have to wear the pants in every area of life all the time. And one mistake that I see a lot of my clients make is resentment grows between you and her. The sneer that you have, or the internal judging, or why can't she just take the pants off and put her fucking pajamas on once in a while, or put the skirt on would be great. If she put some lingerie on, I mean, that would be amazing. But if she would just take the pants off and chill out for a while, that'd be a start. And we have this judgment of who she is, and she feels that weight of judgment just adds to her own sense of lack, her own sense of burden. And so we have to start with, as was said, of who are we regardless? Can we have a smile on her face? And can we block off some time to invite her to put her pajamas on, to invite her to take the pants off? And yeah, if some lacy lingerie happens, great. And if you're at a place in the relationship to practice that, fantastic. But let's start with putting down the judgment, putting down our own, yeah, but, or our internal sneer of her. And this starts with our own feet on the ground. It starts with being happy with who we are, regardless of what's going on with her, and welcoming her to put some sweatpants on once in a while. That's where we start.
You reminded me, Jeff, of name calling when you're talking about the sneer and the judgment. You come up with names that are not flattering for each other. Like,
Yeah.
he's an asshole. Well, she's a control freak. Well, he's lazy. Well, she is a busybody. right? She's all that. And we come up with these names, and sometimes we think they're sarcastically cute, but they're biting because the reputation she thinks you have for her now is a control freak and busybody pain in my ass. And she wakes up every day with that reputation in place. And guess what? When you give somebody a reputation like that to live up to, they will confirm it for you. And the challenge for a guy, a confident, right, calm, independent, free thinking man, you get to choose whether you're going to project that you're a control freak, pain in my ass, or you're just a hardworking, caring, loving woman who's doing the best she can. That second one, that second reputation, is one she would love to believe you have for her. And I am guilty of having spent many times in marriage, many years in marriage, of doing the opposite, giving the negative projection. We all like to call people names. It's American pastime. Doesn't work in marriage. Doesn't work. Mr. Dan.
Okay. Well, so you guys have pretty much covered a lot of what I would want to say. I think, Mark, you said you got to wear your own pants. You know, she hasn't taken your pants. You've still got pants, but you're not filling out your pants. You're not wearing your pants. You're not wearing your pants right now. So you need to start learning how to wear your pants, which is, who the fuck are you? What do you believe in? What do you want in life? It's that information and getting super clear on that stuff where it's like, these are things that are so clear for me that I don't negotiate on them and that I take action on them every day. And this is who I am. That's how people get to know who you are and how to trust you and how to relax around you and not be wearing pants around you is when you're reliable and consistent. And the things you say are the things that you do in the world. So that's the first thing. I think filling out your pants. You're wearing your pants. You're not filling them out right now. So how do you want to wear your pants? So step into that a little bit. Don't be afraid of her emotions. Don't be afraid of her moods. They're just emotions and moods. They come and go. They fluctuate all the time. They're not things to be scared of, just like you would with your kids. You don't get afraid of your kids' moods and emotions. With your kids, you just step right into that masculine role. You got your pants well and truly buckled up with your kids. You're right there, but you bring that kind of calm, strong, curious energy, bit of leadership. Hey, what's going on? And then a bit of advice. Well, why haven't you? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Dude, step into that role very easily. So you have the ability to do this. We just lose it, or we think that somebody has taken it away from us in our romantic relationship. Then I think you need to be able to see this person, your wife, as the woman that you saw her as when you first met her. Now I know that's a jump, but when you first met her, she would still challenge you around stuff. She would still question your opinions around stuff. And you would take it and go, I like her. In fact, I think I might want to be with her for a long period of time because she challenges me to be a better man. And she's doing exactly the same thing now. It's just that now you've decided that it's nagging and it's criticism, and maybe she's got some kind of mental disorder. And no, she's doing the same stuff. You're just responding to it totally differently. You're looking at her through a different lens and seeing a different person. And if you can't see that essence of the femininity and the woman that you met in the first place that you really, really were attracted to and inspired by, then she's feeling that. She feels that you don't look at her in the same way. And so, yeah, she needs to put her protections up. She needs to take care of herself. Then on top of all of that, you've got the day-to-day life stuff, kids, work, household chores, blah, 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 all that stuff, which is a real thing. And it does have an effect on the connection and the intimacy in your relationship. So yes, you need to have a plan, like Steve was saying, like, where's your list? If this is your kingdom, if this house is your subjects, if your family really are as important to you as you say they are, how are you taking care of that? When you walk past something that's just strewn across the floor and you do nothing with it, what's that telling the world? What's that telling her? What's that telling your kids? Right? Now, I'm not saying you have to be perfect, but I am saying be aware of what's going on. Have some kind of intentionality about how are you leading? How are you stepping up? How are you taking care of your environment? How are you taking care of the people in your environment that you say are important to you? So I think the last thing I want to say is she's always giving you clues. She's always giving you information. And we can either look at that and go, this is a pain in the ass and I don't want to have to deal with this. Or we can look at that and filter it through our own values and go, what does this mean for me about me? Not about her, not about how she thinks about me, not about the lack of sex in my relationship. No, none of that. Here's some information. What do you really think about it? What is your opinion about this? And how does it relate to you and who you are as a man? How does it relate to you and who you are as a partner? How does it relate to you and who you are as a dad? Filter it through those various different perspectives that you have about yourself. Again, that's you filling out your pants. And the more you fill out your pants and wear your pants like they're really your pants, then the more the other person will take off their pants.
I love it. I love it. So many things came up as you guys were talking, um, that made me think, yeah, but we all do this. Yeah, but for you listening to this, you're thinking, yeah, but you don't know my wife. Yeah, but I have the opposite problem. I do all the work around here and she's the lazy one. We'll do another video about that. One of your yeah buts might be, yeah, but you don't know her mother's just like this, and her mom's mom is just like this. Is a genetic thing with her. She'll never change. Or she's got hormone issues. She's in perimenopause, or she has a personality disorder. We have a lot of yeah buts. I don't want to discount the fact that there are some very real emotional concerns that make people become protective, overwhelmed, controlling, and dominant. There are some personality disorders, emotional problems. Those are real things. We're not trying to discount those in your life. If you have those things, you have to be doing what we're talking about here and helping her get help if that's what's needed. Another thing that came up was that the male energy is leading and female is following. That can be taken the wrong way. In the horse work we do, there's always somebody who does an initiating and another one who does a responding to it. The masculine energy initiates, the feminine energy responds. Even in dancing, the male is leading and the female is following or walking backwards. But we also know in this day and age, the word partnership is important. We don't want any of you guys watching this video to think that we are all about this old medieval idea of the king needs to get his disciples in order. We understand that partnership is best demonstrated by the couple you've seen at a party who get along so well. They tease, they poke, they kiss, they dance, they laugh, they both raise their kids, and they seem to have this well-oiled understanding between the two of who is what and who plays what role. And it doesn't look like male versus female. It looks like a partnership of dance. And we all know there's a couple that we've envied like that. Like, how did they get that shit? That's what I want. That's what we're talking about, is stepping into your maleness with a sense of clarity, knowing who you are, what you want, what you believe in, so you can lead from that place and offer her her rightful spot next to you so she doesn't feel like she has to wear the pants all the time. After that, intimacy, affection, right, play, sensuality, sexuality, all that stuff comes after you're able to establish a very solid partnership where you both have an admiration and an adoration for what each brings to the party. All right. Well, I'm thinking our next topic might be the opposite of this. She's not my bossy pants wife or wearing the pants wife. She lays in bed till noon every day and reads her phone and doesn't do anything. And I do everything around here. We hear that a lot too. So I think that's another video to come. Thanks for watching, you guys. Thanks for being here. Have a great day.